Lord of the Flies, first published in 1954, is a novel by British author William Golding that explores the dark aspects of human nature and the breakdown of civilization. The story revolves around a group of boys stranded on a deserted island, who initially attempt to establish order but gradually descend into savagery. Through this allegorical tale, Golding critiques the fragile nature of society, the inherent evil within humans, and the thin veneer of civilization that can quickly erode when individuals are removed from structured social norms. Written during the Cold War, Lord of the Flies reflects the post-World War II anxieties about humanity's capacity for violence, destruction, and self-destruction. Golding, who had served in the Royal Navy during World War II, witnessed firsthand the horrors of human conflict. His novel grapples with the idea that even children, often seen as innocent and pure, can succumb to the darkest impulses when placed in extreme situations. The title itself is a reference to Beelzebub, a demon symbolizing chaos and malevolence, further emphasizing the theme of inner evil. The novel begins with a plane crash that leaves a group of British boys stranded on an uninhabited island. The boys, aged between 6 and 12, are the only survivors of what appears to be a wartime evacuation. Without any adults present, the boys must fend for themselves and attempt to create a society of their own. The two central characters, Ralph and Piggy, quickly emerge as leaders, though they represent contrasting approaches to leadership. Ralph, elected as the group's chief, is charismatic and optimistic, advocating for order, cooperation, and the construction of shelters and a signal fire to attract rescue. His leadership is based on democratic principles and a belief in the importance of maintaining the structures of civilization. Piggy, though physically weaker and socially awkward, is highly intelligent and rational. He becomes Ralph's closest advisor, often providing insightful suggestions, such as the use of a conch shell to call meetings and maintain order among the boys. The conch becomes a symbol of authority and civilization, representing the boys' initial attempts to preserve social norms. However, another boy, Jack Marridu, represents a different vision of leadership. Jack is aggressive, competitive, and thrives on power. He is appointed the leader of the boys' choir, which he transforms into a group of hunters. Jack's obsession with hunting pigs on the island becomes symbolic of his growing embrace of savagery. Initially, Jack and his hunters agree to contribute to the signal fire, but as time passes, they become more focused on hunting and less concerned with being rescued. As the boys' civilized behavior begins to break down, tension escalates between Ralph and Jack. The group splinters, with Jack leading a faction that embraces a more primal and violent way of life. Jack's leadership is based on fear and control, and he appeals to the boys' baser instincts, promising them freedom from the constraints of Ralph's rules and offering the thrill of the hunt. One of the pivotal moments in the novel occurs when the boys' fear of a mythical beast on the island begins to consume them. The beast symbolizes the fear of the unknown and the darkness within themselves. Simon, one of the more introspective and spiritually inclined boys, realizes that the true beast is not an external creature, but the savage instincts lurking within each of them. In a tragic turn of events, Simon is killed by the frenzied boys during a ritual dance as they mistake him for the beast. Piggy's death marks another significant moment in the novel. After Jack's faction steals Piggy's glasses, needed to start the signal fire, Ralph and Piggy confront them in an attempt to retrieve them. During the confrontation, Roger, one of Jack's followers, deliberately kills Piggy by pushing a boulder onto him. Piggy's death signifies the complete collapse of rationality and order on the island. Ralph becomes isolated and hunted by Jack's tribe, who now wield unchecked power. The final scenes of the novel depict Ralph fleeing for his life as the hunters set the island ablaze in an attempt to smoke him out. Just as Ralph is about to be captured and likely killed, a naval officer arrives on the island, having seen the massive fire. The officer's appearance brings an abrupt end to the boys' descent into savagery, and they are rescued. The officer, however, is unaware of the horrific events that have transpired, and the boys, now confronted with the return to civilization, are left to grapple with the consequences of their actions. Ralph is the protagonist of the novel and represents order, leadership, and the attempt to uphold civilized behavior. From the beginning, Ralph is committed to the idea of rescue and believes in the importance of maintaining the signal fire. He is a natural leader who wants to create a society based on cooperation and shared responsibility. However, as the novel progresses, Ralph struggles to maintain control over the boys as their descent into savagery accelerates. His attempts to uphold order are ultimately overwhelmed by the primal instincts that take over the group. Piggy is Ralph's intellectual counterpart and the voice of reason throughout the novel. He is physically weak and suffers from asthma, which makes him a target of ridicule, but his intelligence and rationality are crucial to the boys' survival. Piggy represents the scientific and logical aspects of civilization, and his glasses symbolize knowledge and the ability to create fire, an essential element of survival. Piggy's death signifies the final collapse of rationality on the island. Jack is the primary antagonist and represents the descent into savagery and the rejection of civilized norms. His leadership is based on fear, dominance, and the thrill of violence. Jack's transformation from a disciplined choir boy to a ruthless leader of hunters is central to the novel's exploration of human nature. His embrace of violence and chaos challenges Ralph's authority and leads to the breakdown of order on the island. Simon is the most introspective and mystical character in the novel. He represents innate human goodness and has a deep connection to nature. Simon is the only character who understands that the beast is not a physical entity, but the evil that resides within each person. His brutal death at the hands of the other boys during a frenzied ritual underscores the novel's message about the destructive power of fear and mob mentality. Roger is one of Jack's followers and represents the darker aspects of human nature. He is sadistic and revels in violence, enjoying the power he gains by inflicting harm on others. Roger's murder of Piggy is one of the most shocking moments in the novel, as it highlights the complete breakdown of morality and the emergence of unchecked savagery. Civilization versus savagery. One of the central themes of Lord of the Flies is the conflict between civilization and savagery. The novel suggests that the veneer of civilization is fragile, and when removed from the structures of society, humans can easily revert to their more primal instincts. The boys' descent into savagery highlights the thin line between order and chaos, and the novel explores how quickly civilized behavior can collapse in the absence of societal constraints. The inherent evil of man. Golding's novel challenges the idea of human innocence, particularly through the depiction of children. The boys' descent into violence and brutality suggests that evil is an inherent part of human nature, not something learned from society. The novel's portrayal of the beast, as a symbol of the darkness within each individual, reinforces this theme. Golding implies that even in the absence of societal influence, humans are capable of terrible acts of violence and cruelty. Fear and the power of the unknown. Fear plays a significant role in the boys' descent into savagery. The fear of the beast becomes a driving force in their behavior, leading them to commit increasingly violent acts. The beast represents the unknown and the boys' inability to confront their own inner darkness. Golding illustrates how fear can be manipulated by leaders like Jack to control and dominate others. Leadership and power. The novel explores different styles of leadership through the characters of Ralph and Jack. Ralph's leadership is democratic and based on cooperation, while Jack's is authoritarian and based on fear. The conflict between these two approaches reflects the broader struggle between order and chaos. The novel suggests that power, when unchecked, can lead to corruption and the erosion of morality, loss of innocence. Lord of the Flies is often viewed as a coming-of-age story, but it is a dark and pessimistic portrayal of the loss of innocence. The boys, who initially approach their situation with excitement and a sense of adventure, are gradually corrupted by the island's brutal environment. The novel suggests that innocence is easily lost when individuals are confronted with the darker aspects of human nature. The conch shell. The conch represents order, authority, and civilization. In the early stages of the novel, the conch is used to call meetings and establish a sense of democracy among the boys. However, as the boys descend into savagery, the conch loses its power, symbolizing the breakdown of social order. When the conch is shattered during Piggy's death, it signifies the complete collapse of civilization on the island. The beast. The beast symbolizes the primal fear and inherent evil within each of the boys. While they initially believe the beast to be an external force, Simon realizes that the true beast is their own capacity for violence and cruelty. The fear of the beast drives the boys to commit horrific acts, including Simon's murder, underscoring the novel's message about the destructive power of fear. Piggy's glasses. Piggy's glasses represent knowledge, rationality, and the ability to create fire. The glasses are crucial for starting the signal fire, which represents the boys' hope for rescue and their connection to civilization. When Jack's tribe steals the glasses, it symbolizes the triumph of savagery over reason. The signal fire. The signal fire represents the boys' desire to be rescued and their connection to the outside world. As long as the fire is maintained, it signifies hope and the boys' commitment to being saved. However, as the boys become more preoccupied with hunting and violence, the fire is neglected, symbolizing their gradual abandonment of civilization. Lord of the Flies is a powerful and unsettling exploration of human nature, leadership, and the fragility of civilization. Golding's novel challenges the notion that humans are inherently good and suggests that, when removed from the constraints of society, individuals can quickly descend into savagery. Through its portrayal of the boy's descent into violence, the novel highlights the darker aspects of human nature and the ease with which order can break down in the face of fear and power struggles. Golding's timeless themes of civilization versus savagery, the inherent evil of man, and the loss of innocence continue to resonate with readers, making Lord of the Flies one of the most influential and thought-provoking novels of the 20th century. Created for Squeeze That Book channel, please subscribe to follow new videos and leave a comment with your thoughts about the book.